Greetings, the Astro 30 here yet again with a brand new video for you. I've got this subwoofer amplifier module. It's out of its cabinet because the cabinet's pretty big and I don't really need the cabinet. It's a Q-Acoustics 2070S. It's actually an English product but made in the PRC, well, People's Republic of China. Now the issue with this is it doesn't come out of standby. That could be a power supply issue or it could be an amplifier issue. Don't know. This is the inside of the sub. That's very sticky. This is a switch mode power supply, and tucked away underneath this aluminium sheet bracket, whatever you want to call it, is a Class D amplifier and the input board over there. That's all the input circuitry. Now, interestingly, I've just noticed that with the in left mono and in right, they've got the colours inversed. They've got red for left and white for right. I suppose white and right rhyme, but it's wrong compared to convention. It can also take your inputs off your high level outputs from your speakers. A little figure 8 input here and a voltage selector down there. This is a switch mode power supply. They're potentially dangerous, if not lethal. If you're doing something similar to what I'm about to attempt to do at home, you do so at your own risk. These things, when they're unplugged, can hold a charge for hours, if not days. So there is still the potential risk of electric shock off of some of the components in here, if not electrocution. Please adhere to basic electrical safety. And if you're working on anything like this, make sure the main filter caps are discharged before proceeding. And if you're dicking around with things, especially switch mode power supplies, put it through a dim bulb limiter. Not only does it protect the device under test, it'll also protect your mains infrastructure from accidentally blowing fuses and throwing circuit breakers, etc. An isolation transformer wouldn't go amiss either, but I don't have one. However, having had that warning out the way, well, let's get started. So I guess it'd be a good idea to plug it in and see what this does, if anything. I did hear it make a funny noise, and the status light's gone orange, whatever that means. Turn that off, see if it does it again. Yeah, I can hear this funny fizzing sound. Interestingly, it sounds like it's coming down from the amplifier board, not from the supply board. I can actually disconnect the amplifier from the supply, so I might do that. Just unplug myself so it's isolated. Just got to be very careful here because the capacitors would still be charged. Actually, I might use a pair of pliers to do this. There we go, it's disconnected. Alright, hopefully nothing goes off with a bang, but it shouldn't because I'm on the dim bulb anyway. No, it's not the amplifier making that noise. Okay, looks like we've got an issue with the supply. Auto on sensitivity. Okay. Yeah, there's definitely nothing happening. You know, I can't see anything obvious like bulging capacitors, but there could be capacitors out of ESR, which is highly possible. Now apparently someone has already worked on this before me and replaced a couple of transistors, and obviously it didn't cure the problem. So I'd have to really take this PCB out and have a good look at the underside, but there is a +5 ground 2 and P-con connected there. I wonder if we have +5 volts there all the time. Let's just take a measurement and see if there is 5 volts there. I've probably opened myself a can of worms here, but anyway. Just turn this on. And I'll measure between P ground, +5. Yep, we indeed do have 5.1 volts DC there. What about between that and the second ground? Yep. Well, at least we've got 5 volts coming out of it. So that connector I pulled out down there should have +27 volt on it. The center is ground. And I'm assuming the red wire is -27, but I can't really tell because it's red. Anyhow, I don't know if there's going to be voltage there in standby. Probably not, but we'll check it. Floschen Handy Computer Device Co. Limited. Alright. Let's go between ground. Nothing by the looks of things. Nothing. Didn't think there would be. Okay. So I guess it'd be a good idea to come out of there. A good idea to take the PCB out and actually have a look at the underside of it. Discharge these capacitors, of course, and yeah, see what's going on underneath. Right, well, I can't see anything obvious, so I'm going to start checking transistors here. It's discharged, by the way. That one saying 0.3 of a volt. That one's saying 0 volt. I'm assuming that's short circuit. Let's have a look here. Yep, that's indeed short circuit. So that one's gone. That one is also short circuit. That one doesn't appear to be shorted. Oh, it is there. So these three look like they're shorted. That one's fine. Appears fine. Okay, that one's fine. That one's fine. I'm assuming these are MOSFETs. Kilo ohms, that's fine. This might be a short video because I reckon these 3 transistors here are buggered. Although I can't get it to short that way. That is definitely short circuit that way. So what I might do is I might pull one of these transistors out that are suspect and just measure it out of circuit and also identify what the bloody hell it actually is. This is the most stupidest thing I've ever seen. They've got whatever material it is, neoprene, rubber, but a greaseless micro washer, and they've put heat transfer compound on top of it. Why? That makes no sense. Anyway, I'll unsolder that and get him out. I did actually get it out. I'm chasing a red herring. These 3 are diodes and they do test fine, although one here seems to test in both directions, which is odd. So this should be a diode. Yeah, there's a diode, just with a very low drop. This one, however, seems to test in both directions. I don't know if you can actually see the meter, my hand might be in the way. See how that's testing in both directions? So in order to get this transistor out, I have to take this transformer out the way so I can get to the screws. Fun. It's damn circuit glue. What's holding it in? It should be nothing. Oh, come out of there, you bastard. black circuit glue crap. It's awfully difficult to pull things out. It is free from the circuit glue, it's just not free from the glue. Oh, there we go. You can't get this backwards, so that's alright. Now I can get to the screws of that end one. So I might as well test both of them out of circuit. Wouldn't hurt. There's my phone for the millionth time. Resistor out of the way. I'm going to separate the diodes from the heatsink so it's not transferring the heat through to the heatsink, making it impossible to remove. There's an awful lot of copper here. See if that will wiggle out. Okay. Because of all this heatsink compound crap on the bottom of it, I'll put it on a piece of plastic so it's not going all over my desk. Right, so that's apparently open, open. Oops. Functioning as a diode. Don't know how well you can see the screen. Functioning as a diode, that one's fine. So I can put that one back in, take the other one out, pull this other one out. Okay. That one came with the sill pad and all. Test this one out of circuit. Looks normal. Looks normal. And perfectly normal, so in circuit gives you false results. So this one can go back in as well. That's not the issue. Alright, so I've got the heatsink out of the board. It unscrews, luckily. And this rubberized circuit glue is a pain in the ass. These are actually transistors. So that one tests fine, that one tests fine, that one tests fine, and so does that one. And just for completeness, nothing, 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 nothing. Cool. Well, not really, because I'm no closer to figuring out the problem. There is a diode buried right here in this circuit glue crap that I, for the life of me, cannot get a reading off of from the top. Well, I'm getting 0.1 of a volt, but yeah. What I might do is I might remove this diode out of circuit and actually test it out of circuit, just to be sure. It looks like a 1N 4007 or 4004. Alright, maybe not. I don't want to damage it. I'm really not liking this rubber circuit glue. There we go. 4004. Let's see if we get a reading now. Yep, we do, 0.47 volt. Okay, so that diode's not an issue. Okay, I've got the thing reassembled and I've taken an inventory of all the smaller electrolytics, just in case I'm going down that route. Everything's plugged back in, so I'm going to test it again, see if it still even works, after I've been dicking about with it. Plug that in. Just put things a little bit. Okay, no change. Playing a random video.
Beef rump steak 250 grams, drop to...
Yep, it's not detecting anything. So, this is interesting. I'm assuming it being orange like that, it means it's in standby. No. Absolutely nothing. Seeing it again. Okay, so I've been to JCar and I've bought 12 new capacitors for this thing. It was only $5.70, so it's no great loss if it doesn't change anything. There is one capacitor in most switch mode power supplies which is notorious for failing, and that's these large capacitance 10 volt ones. They're usually underrated for the job. I'm not sure what rail that sits on. It's really not much of a concern right now as to what it powers, but I'll get to replacing all the capacitors and then we'll come back and see if it makes a difference. There's no guarantee this will fix it, but it's a last ditch effort in order to attempt to try. Also, whilst I'm at it, I'm going to go through and resolder a couple of joints. I've just noticed that this one here, which is one of the main filter caps, is actually cracked. Don't know how well you can see that, but yeah, that joint is cracked. I did solder a couple of joints, but not all of them. Alright, so all the capacitors are changed. The only one I had issue with was this 63 volt 100 mica. The lead spacing on the board is 2.5mm. The lead spacing is more like 5mm on this capacitor. So I had to like refashion the leads and put a little bit of heat shrink on the end of them. So yeah, been through and got as many as the bad joints as I could find. I mean, there's not much else I can do at this point. I'm not going to sit here and component level fault find this thing. It's just not worth the effort all the time. So let's get this back together. And I thought before we do that, we'd take a good look at the amplifier. Now I have no idea what the main amplifier IC is. It does have some writing on it. It's a TDA8920B, I think is the last letter on there. I'm pretty sure that's a Class D amplifier. Yeah, according to this, it's a 2 times 100 watt Class D power amplifier, and if you want to replace the actual chip, SMD version, $89.10. Ooh, that's expensive for a little IC like that. But that's the circuitry. Even though it's upside down, that says D-Gamble. And interestingly, this shows roughly when it was made. This is a Q2000 subwoofer, issue C, copyright 2009 AHE. Okay, so it's at least 13 years old. So yeah, those capacitors in the power supply probably would have dried out long before now. And there's the underside of the PCB which sticks out the front. So all I've got to do now is put this all back together and couple the heatsink back on, which is only just a sheet of aluminium, by the way. But then again, these little Class D ICs don't get terribly that hot, but they do need adequate heat sinking. I mean, you've got this, but whether that's going to be, you know, adequate enough, Okay, it's all back together for the final and last time. I'm not going to take it apart again if it still fails to work. So I'm about ready to plug it in and test it now, so wish me luck. Okay, just in case anything decides to go off with a bang, it's facing downward. It's doing exactly the same thing. Okay, try giving it a line signal. Yep, this does not work. So that was a complete epic fail and a waste of time. That's failing to do anything. The only other thing left at this point is it could be the actual amplifier board itself causing the issue. I mean, it's possible. As I don't know how this operates, whether it's supposed to go into standby like that as soon as you power it up, after like 5 seconds, however long it is, I don't know. So I'm at a complete loss as to what the actual issue is. I mean, if it's the amplifier board itself, I'm not even gonna go there. It's just not worth the effort. However, why don't you go down into the comments section and leave your thoughts behind, and maybe you can shed some light on this, that maybe you know what the issue is, that you've experienced it with these Q-Acoustics 2070S's before. Just let me know where to go from here, because I'm at a loss. So anyway, I'm going to end this video here. I'm the Astro30. If you enjoyed it, please remember to rate, comment and subscribe below, and you can always follow me on Facebook and become a Patreon member for as little as $1 a month. Anyway, this is the Astro30 saying see ya. Have a great day.